Most of the national parks in the United States were founded on their geology. Yellowstone displays volcanic features. The Grand Canyon shows millions of years of sedimentary history. And here in Yosemite, the geologic story is primarily one of granite. Granite is what's known as an igneous rock, which means it's born of fire. It cooled and solidified from magma or molten rock, and when magma erupts on the surface, we think of it as lava. Basically, granite started off as something similar to that. It was red hot, fluid rock, but instead of making it up to the surface and erupting as lava in a volcano, it stayed many miles below the surface and cooled there very slowly over thousands of years. And because it cooled so slowly, it allowed very large crystals to form.
It's a very coarse-grained rock, and that's the key to its strength. This rock spent a long time at high temperatures, cooled very slowly, and that allowed a lot of the cracks to be annealed out of it, making it a very strong rock. So the glaciers had a hard time moving it, and that's what allows you to carve the kind of landscape that you can see over my shoulder here.
Granite is among the toughest rocks on the planet. I mean, it's very, very strong stuff. So when glaciers were moving through here, they certainly were able to erode and sculpt the landscape some. But a lot of the domes, the smooth ridges that we see up here in the high country, they're really a testament to the fact that glaciers weren't able to do a lot of eroding of this landscape.
One of the things that makes Yosemite such a great place for us as geologists to work is that nature has taken these rocks and polished them for us. And so we can come out here and literally crawl around on our hands and knees looking at beautifully polished specimens that in places are polished almost as well as a commercial company would polish up your kitchen countertops for you. So we can see the relationships among these minerals. We can see into the guts of what was a magma chamber and see what was going on then, frozen in time for us.
Every visitor to Yosemite, I think, experiences granite in some way. I mean, you can't hardly not experience granite in a park like this where most of what you see is granite. And that can range from just taking a quick stroll off the side of the road to a place like Olmsted Point, to taking the hike up Half Dome, up to the summit, to spending 4 or 5 days climbing up El Capitan. I think more than most visitors, rock climbers have a really good sense for granite.
Climbers take advantage of lots of the geologic features of the granite, such as these feldspar knobs that stick out, such as the occasional cracks, such as some of the dark blobs of different kind of rock in the granite that weather out that you can use for handholds or footholds. Okay, so what minerals have you got so far?
Biotite, quartz, and potassium feldspar.
Okay. What else might you expect to be on this rock? Well, I got my class, it's a first-year seminar at the University of North Carolina. We come out here every fall, and we always bring them into Yosemite for at least a day because it's an experience that everyone needs to have as soon as possible in their lives.
You know, Yosemite is a great place to just come learn more about granitic rocks. You'll see them everywhere. You can easily walk around on them, look at them closely. And I think it helps that you can be studying these rocks in such an inspiring place, you know, where the landscape just sort of opens your mind up to trying to understand it better.
When I walk around here and look at the granites, I think I understand a lot about how most of the features that I see formed. I can see cracks that filled with magma. I can see blobs of a dark magma that were caught up in a lighter magma. Then we can understand that by studying it, by doing chemical analyses, by doing experiments to try to duplicate some of these things. But there are a lot of features out here that none of us understand. When you walk around on these glaciated surfaces, you can find a lot of really unusual things. Some of them I think we understand, and some of them are great mysteries. I've been to this place maybe half a dozen times, and I really have no idea how this formed. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in a granite. Seeing things like this is kind of humbling. I think we understand a lot about the granites in Yosemite and how they form and over what time periods they form and so forth, but you walk around a corner, you run into something like this, and it's really humbling. It says there are a lot of mysteries out there still left to solve.
I think a lot of visitors, when they come to the park, they're not thinking about geology per se, but you know, they're here to experience this beautiful place. It's right here in the core of Yosemite that we have the best exposure of granite, and that's also where we have the most amazing landscapes in Tuolumne Meadows, in Yosemite Valley. They are a direct result of the granite that's here.